Good evening, one and all. So I'll do a share screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Bante.
Okay, so tonight is the last lesson, and I'm covering on this insight or this vipassana. So basically, a short, brief introduction. The first lesson we talk about the various types of practices, introduce what is samatha or concentration, and what is vipassana insight, two types of meditations and the variety of meditation objects. Second lesson, we go more into detail on what is samatha or concentration meditation. And the last week we talked about the samatha to vipassana, yeah? Or sometimes vipassana can enter samatha, the process involved. So tonight is the last lesson, which is this I talk on insight or vipassana in detail. So there are various definitions depending on context. so in the suttas, right, or in the scriptures, it can mean the process of contemplation. Right, when you think of impermanence, investigate the teaching, the Dhamma. So that is one. Hold on a sec. Excuse me. Okay, then the second is the aha moment when you investigate and suddenly you got some sort of understanding. You got you got the light bulb, like a flash of light bulb in your mind. You got I understand this teaching. So that could be a product. So the first one, the process. Second is the product, and the third is the various kinds of vipassana. So if you are not um, knowledgeable in the various schools of Buddhism, sometimes you just hear from one person, they'll tell you, oh, okay, I practice vipassana meditation. So which version of vipassana are you practicing? Right? So usually it's popularized in the Theravada context. And let's say the Burmese tradition, they have their own kind of vipassana traditions. For example, Mahasi Sayadaw has, it's considered one kind of vipassana school, and there's another person, S.N. Goenka. So that is another kind of vipassana method. So there are a variety kinds of vipassanas in the Theravada tradition. And I mentioned the word interestingly, reinventions, because every school of Buddhism, right, be it Mahayana, Tibetan, or Theravada, they have samatha and vipassana, or this vipassana insight is very important for liberation, like we mentioned in the last week's lesson. And in the 1800s, if you want to look back into Theravada Buddhist countries, the history, in the 1800s, there are lots of reinventions. So why is there reinvention? Right? There's this, we call it Western colonization of the Buddhist countries, uh, Myanmar, Thailand, Sri Lanka, and some of the surrounding countries around Thailand. So what happened was when the Western countries colonized these Buddhist countries or Theravada Buddhist countries, they brought in Christian missionaries, and they started doing their conversion and stuff like that. So what happened was, because the Christian missionaries found that hey, the Buddhist practice there is so superstitious. They just rely on blessing and good luck, and that's it. Can you turn off the with this W? Okay, yeah. So because of this issue, from this historical account, we found that the Theravada Buddhist countries have sort of degenerated. They don't sort of have a strong foundation, at least in the meditation aspect. So there's lots of these superstitious ritual going on. And because of this, lots of sort of Buddhists got converted to Christianity. And because of this, the authorities were very worried. They've already built lots of temples and monasteries in the country, so they're afraid of the change in the demographics. Yeah, it will affect their investment. So the monks then are incentivized to come up with something, to bring back the devotees. It's not just rely on superstition and blessing, but come up with some concrete Buddhist teachings for their spirituality. So there's all this reinvention movements. So the new Vipassana movements are all invented in the 1800s. And likewise for the Thai forest tradition. So the forest tradition also got reinvented in the 1800s. Yeah, so the my particular school, this Dhammayut school, also founded in the 1800s. Then about 1 or 2 generations later, this Bong Man sort of founded the Thai forest tradition, right? And even the meditation system, which I'm mostly based on using by the late Venerable Amata Gavesi from Sri Lanka, also in the 1800s, or the late 1800s, they found that, okay, according to his story, or his students found that, hey, nobody knows how to meditate. So this Venerable Amata Gavesi, he went to a cave, meditated alone, and he made this strong aspiration that he wanted to sort of realize the truth. And some guardian devas came and gave him some instruction or some personal teachings, and then he founded his own system. Yeah, so lots of reinvention. Okay, so just for your knowledge only. Okay, so because there are so many schools, they have based on many different scriptures. So in the sutta itself, there's already this Satipatthana Sutta, the 4 foundations of mindfulness, which I think is good enough for Vipassana. But in Theravada tradition, we have this thing called this Abhidhamma, our 3rd basket of scriptures. We have the 3 baskets, the Vinaya, the moral conduct, the suttas, which the 2nd basket, which is the teachings, and the 3rd basket, which is this Abhidhamma, all the catalog of all the technical or the metaphysical, psychoanalytical kind of processes. So these are the things mentioned in this Vipassana Bhumi Pata, part of the Abhidhamma, passages on the stages of insight. Things that you more or less should know about Vipassana, or the technicalities involved in Vipassana. So the ones highlighted in red, you don't really have to know. Don't really have to know. Like this, femininity element, masculinity element. Sometimes they just like to add a lot of extra stuff inside. But anyway, 5 aggregates, we'll talk about it later. This is the most fundamental term you should know, 5 aggregates. So the aggregates is not our aggregates from our PSLE score, our primary school living education. We have this exam, and they use aggregates as like a total score. Yeah, so it's a combination of all the marks or scores. So the aggregates is basically all the 5 different kind of components clumped together, and we have these 12 bases. Basically your 6th sense door and your 6th sense object, your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, 6th sense door, and the 6 objects, basically the sights you see, the sounds you hear, so on and so forth, corresponding to the senses. And 18 elements are repetitive. It's an expansion based on your 6th sense door, 6 sense bases, and you have 6 kinds of consciousness. If you are aware of what you see, that is your eye consciousness. If you are aware of what you hear, that is your ear consciousness, so on and so forth. So there are 6 in total. And there's this thing called 22 faculties. And these 6 sense doors, you have to know this great stuff. 5 types of feelings, basically pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, internal and external kind of feelings. So these are 5 powers, basically your 5 kind of criteria, 5 kind of conditions which make you conducive to practice. So these are the 5 spiritual faculties. First, namely, faith. Yeah, number 1, faith. Number 2, effort. Number 3, mindfulness. Number 4, concentration. And number 5, wisdom. So these are the 5 powers, and the rest I shall come to know. This is like a close to enlightenment kind of stage, and one was understood. Okay, then Four Noble Truth. So we talked about this in the first lesson. You need to know Four Noble Truths, and the Four Noble Truth actually encompasses everything. Yeah, it's like opening your Windows folder. So this is like the main folder, Four Noble Truths. And once you expand First Noble Truth, you already see 5 clinging aggregates is suffering. Yeah, because we cling onto the 5 aggregates, that's why we suffer, and how it operates through all the sense doors and so on. So it's all related. And lastly, these 12 links of dependent origination, which I won't have time to go through, very long topic, and we just cover, yeah, these 5 aggregates. So some basic revision for those who have studied this before. For those who are new, then it's good to know these are called the 5 aggregates. So the first aggregate is form. Second, look at the blue square, feeling. Third aggregate called perception. Fourth aggregate, mental formations. Fifth aggregate, consciousness. So they can be divided into 2. So the first called body or material is called form, and the second aspect is called mental. Yeah, so these 4 things, 4 aggregates, are in the mental aspect. So, so the Pali term is called nama rupa, mind and matter. So mind is these 4 things, matter is this form. So we covered in our meditation, form is actually these 4 elements, earth, fire, wind, water. Nothing magical about these 4 elements. Basically, they are how the ancient Indians classify all the things that make up the universe. And these 4 elements that make up the universe, these are these earth elements. So anything in our body that is solid, that's the earth element. So if we want to feel our sensations, any hard and soft sensations would be called the earth element. Water, all the water liquid parts in the body. So moist and dry sensations. Wind, all the air in our lungs, in the digestive tract, right, inside the body. And also any kind of movement, fast, slow movements, they are the wind element, like our breathing, and fire, temperature, hot, cold. So these 4 elements is not just within the body, but also outside of the body. Like your device, your electronic device here has the 4 elements. Emits heat, has certain shape, certain texture, and stuff like that. So they are made of 4 elements. So this is form. And when you observe the form, let's say this image in front of you, the screen, there will be feelings. Either you find it pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Yeah, whether you like what you see, don't like what you see, or if I have neutral feelings. Even if, let's say, you have neutral feelings at first, you keep on staring at the screen for a long time, you might develop unpleasant feeling. And you change focus, and you develop some pleasant feeling, and get unpleasant again. So we call this impermanence. Yeah. So in our meditation, we try to observe impermanence of the four elements. Elements keep changing. You won't feel the same temperature all the time. You won't feel the same movement all the time. Yeah, the body won't be stalemate, won't be fixed in the same posture all the time. And you will be breathing, your heart will be beating. So there's always things changing, things going on. Yeah, so you need to observe all these sensations, and together it's a package. Yeah, it's not separate. So when you observe earth, sometimes you may have pleasant feeling. Oh, okay, very nice. And if it's too stiff, then you might have unpleasant feeling, right? And likewise for the temperature, too hot or too cold, you might have pleasant or unpleasant feelings. So they're all related. And the next one is perception. Perception is basically your past memories, all the terms and jargons, all the labels you've learned before in your past. Whenever you observe a new thing, the mind will try to cognize and put a label. So it can be verbal, it can be non-verbal. That means basically your mind will try to recognize it in the most simplest way based on past experience. So basically that's called perception. So some translators will translate it as memory. So it's called perception. So if, let's say you've learned this term, earth, fire, wind, water. So next time your meditation, you feel anything moving, then you call this wind element. So it's called perception. And because you learned before, so the mind will bring up the past and give it a label, right? So basically these are called perceptions. And mental formations is basically anything that generate all these things. So mental formations can generate consciousness, mental formations generate sensations, form, and this perception. Yeah. So if you want to talk about dependent origination, mental formation comes first before consciousness, and followed by this nama rupa, mind matter, followed by feelings, right? So we have, but you don't need to know dependent origination now. You just know these five comes together, and consciousness is basically your awareness. So it's either you're conscious or not conscious, unconscious. If you are not aware, that means you are not conscious about it. So you can be aware through your six senses, like we mentioned earlier, like earlier in the screen, right? There are six kinds of consciousness based on your six kinds of senses, right? So you have eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind consciousness. Yeah. So we talk about these senses here. So when we have contact with the worldly phenomenon, let's say you have the screen in front of you, you're using your eyes, so therefore you have eye consciousness. So this is how it works. Because of the image is present, your organs, that means your eyes, are functioning, and the conditions are right, the lighting is there, and eye consciousness arise. And vice versa, likewise for all the senses, because of the vibrations of the air in your speakers or whatever it is, and your ears are working, right? Your sense organs, your ears are working, then ear consciousness arises. So that's how the cognitive processes work in, or how it's being labeled in Buddhism. Okay, and because of these things arise, then it will develop feeling. Either you find it pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. So all these processes, five aggregates, right? All the way when you contact, you see this image, when you hear the sounds, no suffering. Even you have unpleasant feeling, no suffering yet, or pleasant feeling, no suffering yet. What happens is we have man-made suffering. Man-made suffering is when we react with this pleasant or unpleasant feeling. If we have pleasant feeling and the mind is not trained or not mindful, it will by default react with greed. I want more, very nice, I like it, I want more. Yeah? So this is craving arise when there's pleasant feeling. And when there is unpleasant feeling, the mind will react with aversion, anger, right? So this is how these things function. And if it's neutral, either of the three, there will be delusion. So if you have greed, there's also delusion. If you have aversion, there's also delusion, right? So we call this the three poisons: greed, hatred, and delusion. Three kinds of cravings. And with these cravings, then there's clinging. And when there's clinging, and then followed by suffering. Okay, so we talk about this eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. So in our meditation routine, when we visualize the parts of the body, your hairs, your skin, your teeth, your nails, all these are using your mind door. Because your eyes are closed, right? Your eyes are closed. What are you using? Which sense organ are you using? Now you're using your mind, right? So this is using your mind door. Then the second phase of meditation, I will ask you to feel the sensations. Feel the four elements. So which sense door are you using? Anybody know? Want to make a guess? Got 6 options here.
Skin.
Skin, okay, yeah, your body, consciousness, yeah, your nervous system. But if I ask you to feel all sensations in front, or expand the mind, all beings, well and happy, and ask you to feel all the sensations beyond the skin. So that is actually mind door also. Outside the body already. Yeah? So, so these are your 6 senses. Okay, so when we talk about applying Dhamma in everyday life, your eye, ear, nose, tongue, in your daily activities, these things are happening all the time. You don't have to be seated and cross-legged in full lotus to experience this. Right now, even when you're working, the mind will generate all this. When you have contact, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, you generate pleasant, unpleasant feelings. And if you're not mindful, you create, we call this unwholesome karma, unwholesome states of mind. So the whole idea of meditation is to intervene. Now, once you have feelings, or once you have this contact, you intervene with right thoughts, either loving kindness or impermanence or whatever meditation object you are practicing. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Okay, so I'm going to simplify for you. There are many manuals, or the modern schools of Vipassana like to use this, called Visuddhimagga. But chronologically, the sutta is the most original scripture. It has 1 step. You need to do 1 step, you'll do. And later on, when after the scriptures are put into writing, 1 generation later, there's this monk, he wrote this book called Vimuttimagga, Path to Liberation. It has 6 steps of insight, 6 stages of insight. And later on, probably 1 or 2 generations later, there's this guy, what's his name? The Buddha Gosa, yeah? Venerable Buddha Gosa. He wrote this book, Visuddhimagga, Path of Purification. It has 16 steps, 16 stages. So it gets more and more complicated. So I'm just going to remove all the redundant steps and just go back to step 1. Okay, so what are you going to do, right, with this simplified step? Okay, so there's this story of this monk. He was having a conversation with Venerable Sariputta. Sariputta is the right-hand man of the Buddha, chief disciple and the wisest disciple of the Buddha. So they're having a conversation, and one of the monks asked Venerable Sariputta, how is it possible for a normal person, that means an untrained person, ordinary person, how do they practice and reach this first stage of sainthood? That means you realize the Dhamma, right? We call this stream entry. So there are 4 levels of realizations at least in the Theravada classification. So the highest is arahantship. The first step is the stream entry. Okay, so Venerable Sariputta, he answered, okay, all you need to do is attend your 5 aggregates, 5 clinging aggregates, as that's the whole list of reflections. Impermanence, suffering, disease, cancer, error, pain, affliction, alien, dissolution, emptiness, non-self. You just pick one. So the most obvious one, we'll use impermanence, something observable. Some people would like to use emptiness, but emptiness requires like certain level of process first before you come to a conclusion that is empty. So this one requires more intellectualization and more theory. So we use something more prominent. Don't have to use too much thinking. This is impermanence. Okay. Then likewise, then the monk asked Venerable Sariputta again, then how about stream entry? How to progress and reach this stage of once returning? And Venerable Sariputta said, do the same thing. Now reflect all these things. 5 aggregates, all this. And the monk asked Venerable Sariputta again, how to reach non-returning? This 3rd stage of enlightenment. And Venerable Sariputta said, do the same thing. And how about the final stage? To be an arahant, it means a person who is liberated from the rounds of rebirth. And Venerable Sariputta said, do the same thing. So it's just one step. One step. So in our meditation routine, if you visualize something, you need to contemplate on impermanence. You watch your breath, also impermanence. You feel the 4 elements, impermanence. Whatever you do, right? With your 6 senses, impermanence. So this is the one step. Okay, so this is in theory. So how to apply with your various cognitive functions. So you can find this in this Anatta Lakkhana Sutta, the discourse on non-self. So this is the 2nd discourse of the Buddha. So what happened is, we have 5 aggregates, whatever past, future, or present. Some people think meditation always need to be present moment. Not true. So you can think of the past also. Like we think of past and future, think of birth, aging, sickness, and death. So that's thinking of past and future. So you can either do it correctly or do it wrongly. So like when we think of the qualities of the Buddha, so that is thinking of the past. So one good example is to do it wrongly. If you think of past and future, you will worry. If I grow old, who is going to take care of me? If I grow old, do I have enough savings? And you tend to get sucked into this worry too much. So this is restlessness and worry with regards to past and future. How about present moment? Can a person practice present moment wrongly? Can. If a person mindful of the present, mindful of the body, for example, they observe the body, let's say, maybe bodybuilders and supermodels. They always look at the mirror, look at their body. Very mindful, very at the present. Look at the mirror all the time. But do they detach from clinging? So this is a question to ask. And likewise, a person can have very good situational awareness of the present. Let's say, I don't know, maybe a skilled sniper. I recently read some articles on the critique of circular mindfulness workshops. They train soldiers and snipers, very good at the present, aim very accurately and kill the animal. I mean, kill the opponent, right? So this is called mindfulness, but not the right kind of mindfulness. Yeah, at the present, they're very sharp, they think very fast, but doesn't practice reducing greed and hatred, right? So this is wrong kinds of practice of past, future, present. So in any case, when you think of past, future, or present, you need to apply the right thoughts, non-greed and non-hatred. So in our case, loving kindness and impermanence. Internal or external. So we give an example, internal, either you can think of your body, or external, any object outside, when you observe your senses. And blatant or subtle. So blatant example would be our physical body. Subtle example would be like our imaginary bodies, when we visualize the hairs, nails, teeth, and skin. So there's a subtle kind of form, and you have the gross kind of form. So common or sublime. So common are our common kind of emotions. Sublime are the more sublime kind of emotions: loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, equanimity, different states of concentration, different stages of insight and stuff like that. So these are sublime states of mind, far or near. So if a person listen to news, some country far, far away, many COVID cases, many deaths, or some terrorist incident happen, whatever it is. And if you have unskillful thoughts, thoughts of worry, thoughts of fear, thoughts of anger, then it's called unskillful thoughts. So you can also apply right thoughts. There's this particular teaching that Buddha mentioned. If a person were to hear some news of some people who passed away, far, far away, never seen before, never heard before this person, and you reflect, okay, one day I will go through birth, aging, sickness, and death. And if a person realize the Dhamma through this method, they are the foremost. And the next category down the line would be they have to see the person themselves, physically see the person passing away, or see the person getting ill who is not related to you. Then you reflect, one day I'll go through birth, aging, sickness, death. Then this is the second grade of person. And the third grade of person is your own relative or your own friends that has this illness or pass away. Then you contemplate, okay, one day I'll go through birth, aging, sickness, death. So this is the third grade. And the fourth grade will be you yourself got illness or face certain problems. Then you start to reflect on the Dhamma. So it can happen far or near. You don't have to focus on your own body all the time. Okay, and so whatever phenomenon, as long as your attention can be detected, there are 5 aggregates. And these 5 aggregates are subject to clinging. Therefore, it's a condition for us to practice and apply the Dhamma. So this is applying permanent suffering, non-self. Okay, so this is the end of the short theoretical sharing. I open the ground for Q&A. Any questions?
Yeah. Anyone have question? Can turn on your mic or type in the chat group. I mean, in the chat.
All understood, huh?
Okay, I have a question.
Okay, yes.
So on the latest part of our meditation practice, when you start guiding us through the jhanas, are we doing like vipassana meditation or samadhi?
Yeah, we are combining both samadhi and vipassana.
Okay, so could you explain like in practice how we should do this exactly? Because I'm kind of doing this, but I'm not so sure if I know the formula, let's say, to apply it if I have doubts.
Okay, as long as there is a contemplation of impermanence, that is constitute under vipassana. So we have various cognitive functions. The mind can be restricted, can be a small area. It can be deliberately expanded, like we do this loving kindness in all directions, deliberately expanded. So whatever state of mind, whether is it restricted, it can be subjected to clinging. So if let's say a person does pure samatha, so this is the problem with most meditators when they want to focus the mind on the breath, then they want the mind to be still. So the more they want to keep the mind still, they focus on the more suffering, more tension, more stress. Yeah, because the mind naturally is impermanent. The nature of the mind is impermanent. So the more you want to fix it, more angry, more frustrated, yeah, more dukkha. So this is called 100% samatha and no vipassana, or attempt to samatha, and that means no insight. So by reflecting on insight, you accept, okay, the mind is impermanent, then you're able to detach. So we have techniques. So we apply loving kindness first. We don't straight away think of impermanence. Think of loving kindness first. Make friends with the whatever meditation object. So if let's say a person want to, let's say, nian for or chant the Buddha's name or any mantra, first you need to have this thing called faith. So faith is equivalent to non-hatred. You need to have certain positive emotions or positive feelings to your meditation object. So we are actually not training the meditation object. We are actually training the mind to soften, or rather making these 5 aggregates soften, stretching the 5 aggregates, oiling the 5 aggregates, however term you want to use it. Right? Same thing, when we visualize the hair, nails, teeth, and skin, we are not training the hair, we are not training our teeth. It's an image. Yeah? We are training to loosen this cognitive process. So this loving kindness soften the mind, that's all. Same with the breath. If you read up the 16 steps of breath meditation, you need to have find pleasant feeling with the breath. Have rapture with the breath first, and before calming the mind down. Yeah, so you need to have pleasant feeling. The mind needs to be pleasant. So it is very important for whatever kind of meditation you're doing. So if a person's mind is frustrated, then they chant, also frustrated. They watch the breath, also frustrated. So, so tip number 1, have some form of non-hatred in your meditation. So you must reflect accordingly. So once the mind is well stretched, well oiled, then you can do the heavy lifting. Then you can reflect on impermanence, whatever, reflection. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. We will go through the practical round again, no worries. Yeah? Or you can watch the YouTube link of the past previous sessions.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Can I ask one more question?
Oh, yes, sure.
Yes. So, to be honest, I have been very motivated with this meditation method before I was doing something different.
Okay.
So after this course, I would like to continue learning about it. So can you recommend like a book or something like to uh, like on this topic?
Book. No, I'm not. Well, how do you call it? Read on the current authors, current books. I would normally go to the original source, the suttas. So I will just normally search this access to insight.org. So I'll type the link into the chat group later.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Any questions? So this website, I find it quite user-friendly, even though not all the suttas are translated completely, but no, you can, in the subcategories, you can search by topic, search by subject, because the sutta arrangement itself is not arranged according to topic. So good thing there's a search engine, you can just type in the search engine and the relevant suttas will appear.
Okay, I didn't know this part categorized. I knew the website, but didn't know that you could like categorize. That's
Yeah.
very useful for sure. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, anyone else? All okay? Or eager for the, okay.
Bande, I have a question about the five aggregates. Like in the suttas as well as what you touched on your PowerPoint, right? Like you mentioned the five aggregates subject to clinging, but I cannot really understand what that means. Like, is it that the aggregates themselves have cling, or is it that there is some kind of consciousness that is clinging onto something like external experiences or different parts of the external phenomena? So I'm always very confused by this phrase.
Yeah, so I would term it by default programming, it will naturally cling because no, as long as we are still not free from greed and hatred, it will naturally cling. When you place your attention somewhere or anywhere, it will naturally cling. And because of this clinging, that's why we suffer.
But okay, so if I were to take the example of form, which is say like the body, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be some kind of like volition for it to want to continue to repeat the experience that I enjoy. But the form itself doesn't cling.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
I mean that it's only with the combination of aggregates that this that is the clinging experience.
Yeah, the aggregate by itself doesn't cling. It is because our man-made desire. No, that's why the Four Noble Truth, the cause of suffering, the Second Noble Truth, is because of our craving. So, for example, maybe the for example, the aggregates is like, for example, like our bread, and the craving is like the jam. And when you fold the bread together, it sticks.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other question? All okay? All clear and good to go? Okay, then we can have a 5-minute break. And you can do a stretching, relieve yourself from air, your elements, water element, whatever. Then we come back for the guided meditation session. Okay, I presume everyone is back. Okay, then we can start off finding a comfortable sitting position, and make sure your back is upright and the rest of the body relaxed. In order to have a happy mind or pleasant feeling kind of mind, you need to have a pleasant posture first. Make sure it's a comfortable posture. Don't torture yourself. In formal practice, find a posture which you can sit for long. Can be on a chair, doesn't matter. And once you've found a good posture, make sure your body relaxed. And we are going to start off with a bit of bodily detachment. So this one is mind or consciousness. So we are now going to visualize the hairs from head to toe. And we are going to wish them well and happy. And every time you conjure a new image or think of a new area of hair, new patch of hair, there's actually new contact. So new contact requires new loving kindness. And think new patch of hair, well and happy, new patch of hair, well and happy. So the initial stage seems very, very intentional, or basically throughout the routine very intentional. Because once you leave the mind idle, and that's it. All the unskillful thoughts will come in. And once you have wished all the hairs well and happy, then we can introduce the reflection on impermanence. So all these hairs go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. And we think of these hairs growing and falling many, many times. The more the merrier. No need to over-imagine or over-dramatize. And no need to think of any scenario like how you shower or comb your hair. And just think of hairs growing and falling. That's all. to know whether you're on the right track. And we have the Four Noble Truths SOP, Standard Operational Procedures. If there's any tension, that means there's suffering, right? So you think of loving kindness followed by impermanence. If there is overcoming of this craving, then there should be a reduction of this stress or suffering. So the symptoms would either be inner peace or inner joy. And treat all emotions, no matter how pleasant, how peaceful, as impermanent. Treat them as a passerby, a byproduct. Always focus on impermanence. And can ask ourselves, are these hairs truly self? Can we tell the hairs not to go through birth and death? And next we can think of the nails, fingernails and toenails. May they be well and happy. And all these nails go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. Think of the nails growing and falling, many, many cycles. And we can ask ourselves, are these nails truly self? And we tell the nails not to go through birth and death. It's also good to discern or take note of this state of mind or this emotion when we are observing this impermanence. Call this the non-deluded mind, or at least a temporary lack of delusion. And once we think of a new object, let's say we think of our teeth, will this clinging come back again? And we are going to wish teeth well and happy, all the upper rows of teeth and the lower rows of teeth, may they be well and happy. And all these teeth are subject to birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. And we think of the birth and death of the teeth. And if you want to repeat the cycle many times, just think of the teeth cells and bone cells of the teeth, wear and tear, growing and falling, many cycles. And we can ask ourselves, are these teeth truly self? Can we tell the teeth not to go through birth and death? And we can move on to the next part of the body, which is the skin. We wish all the skin well and happy from head to toe. And likewise, whenever we think of a new patch of skin, we wish it well and happy. it's not just well-wishing. There must be an emotional impact also. So this well and happy is to make the mind not violent, not aggressive, not coercing. So the right effort in the Eightfold Path is not about forceful kind of pushing. It's more on repetition. And we can now think of the impermanence of the skin. All the skin go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. And keep growing and falling many, many times. And we can question ourselves, are these skin truly self? And we tell the skin not to go through birth and death. Okay, then next part of the training, we are now doing this loving kindness meditation. So this routine is non-visualization, using we feel the sensations. So a lot of these 4 elements. So now we're going to wish all beings in front well and happy. Any kind of perceived sensation in front that occurs real time, you don't have to deliberately conjure anything up. So any sensation that arises in front, we just wish it well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we wish may all beings behind be well and happy. And come back to ourselves. Next, we wish all beings on the left well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we wish all beings on the right well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And now we wish all beings above well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we wish all beings below well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And this time round, we are going to wish the entire body well and happy. Basically, all the sensations in the body, may they be well and happy. So again, these sensations are generally classified into the 4 elements. The earth element represents hard and soft sensations, fire, warm and cold sensations, wind element, fast and slow movements, and water element, moist or dry sensations. So there's no need to purposely generate or control, pull or reject any of these sensations. Let it arise naturally by itself, and whenever you detect a sensation, just wish it well and happy. So basically treat them as passerby. All kinds of people passing by, all kinds of sensation you perceive, just wish it well and happy. All these are happening real time, no imagination. Any sensation arising, that is your evidence, your observation. And we make peace with all these observations by thinking of loving kindness, wishing them well and happy. So basically, can we be at peace with reality? If you are full of craving, you want to be a control freak. I want the sensations to be pleasant forever, nice forever, comfortable forever. And you have lots of suffering. So first step, always make peace in this mind, these sensations. And once you suffuse the entire body with loving kindness, you can take note this state of mind, non-aversion mind, and a restricted mind within the confines of the body. And to reduce this delusion, we can reflect on impermanence. All these sensations arise and they pass away. And now we are going to expand this mind, and we are going to wish all beings in all directions, may they be well and happy. And no need to purposely push the mind. Let it extend naturally by itself. And however far the mind wants to encompass, that will be your universe or your perceived universe. And within that field of attention, similarly, any sensation arising, you just wish it well and happy. So these elements or these sensations can be near, can be far, can be large, whatever size it is. As long as you detect a new sensation, wish it well and happy. All beings within that attention is encompassed by your so-called mind. You wish it well and happy. sort of achieve boundless loving kindness. We don't try to push the mind far and wide. Any form of pushing is kind of can cause tension, and it's called restriction of the mind. Yeah? So we remove the boundaries by reducing craving. So the more loving kindness we generate, every thought of loving kindness, we remove the boundaries of this craving, aversion. And the more loving kindness you generate, the calmer the mind will be. And if it settles to a calm and quiet state, and that is using loving kindness and samatha, concentration, calm the mind. And focus is to keep generating this loving kindness for every sensation. All peaceful, pleasant states are just byproduct. And then we are going to add some insight or some wisdom to the practice, and we are going to reflect on how to practice an unconditional kind of loving kindness. And without expecting these sensations to be well and happy, to accept that all this phenomenon arise and pass away. So we keep observing impermanence, all sensations, all formations arise and pass away all the time. focus is always on impermanence. Call this the middle way. It is like traveling on a highway and keep the wheels, the vehicle turning, keep the wheels rolling, keep traveling on the middle path. All other emotions are just passing sceneries. We don't have to stop and look at every nice scenery. Just focus on driving, think of impermanence, carry on the middle path. All kinds of emotion, no matter how peaceful, how pleasant, they're just sceneries, passing sceneries. So this is practicing insight through an expanded mind. And we are now going to bring the attention back to the body. Particularly feel the sensations in your body. And next we are going to let the mind be free. And basically let the mind freestyle, or let the mind scatter around naturally. And you don't have to deliberately fixate the mind anywhere. No need to expand it. No controlling, no interfering. Let the mind loose. So in this scattered mind, we are now going to play hide and seek. Basically observe how this attention move around through your 6 senses: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. Every moment you need to know, where is my attention now? How it arises, how it passes away by itself, without you controlling. So this is part of seeing things as they really are. Not seeing things as you want it to be. So the less interference, the better. So how to trace your attention? We can use the 4 elements as an indicator to know the coordinates of your attention. Whatever sensation you feel anywhere of your 6 senses, and there is your attention. All the 5 aggregates will appear together. One good analogy would be this observing, this attention is like this filming crew trying to film an animal, something like Animal Planet, like some documentary film, or the mind or this animal. We have to observe it and see how it moves around. So sometimes, or usually the mind, or we will want to interfere. So some of the documentary films will have a bit of this Steve Irwin kind of style, when you try to wrestle and catch the animal. And often, whenever we want to control the mind, want to capture the mind, want to wrestle and struggle with the mind, we will get injured. We'll get bitten by an animal, get bleeding. So we use a non-interference kind of observation. So if you're enticed by the sense contact, it is like leaving your camera and playing with the animals. The animal. The more you think of impermanence, the more the mind detached and calmer the mind will be. So again, like last week's example, this calming process or this detachment process can be a long journey. It's like a long river. Every time we react with greed or anger to any of the sense contact, and we are flowing with the stream of desire. And every time we don't interfere, detach with non-greed, non-hatred, then we are going against the stream of desire. So it's a bit like a tug of war, where which part of the stream do we end up with? And to add some Zen flavor to this exercise, we can investigate. There is a saying, this mind, Sơn Chong Na Er Lai, means where does it get born from? And where does it get born from? So Wang Na Er Chi. And when it passes away, where does it go to? Every formation, where is the origin point? So in the four foundations of mindfulness, you have to observe the origination and passing of these five aggregates. So the more we detach, the closer we get to the true origin. Currently, we do not have the full spectrum of how this origin and this mind arises. And just a gentle reminder before we end the formal session that we still can maintain this mindfulness of impermanence, be it standing, sitting, walking, or lying down. So currently this is the scattered state of mind, or some call this the 100% vipassana, 0% samatha. Yeah? Okay, and we are going to open your eyes once you think you're ready. Okay, so suppose most of you all have awakened physically. Any questions? This is the last session, so we leave again some short time for Q&A. So throughout the various portions of meditation, different phases, we tried different cognitive functions. So the most recent one we did is a scattered mind, and the mind run around through the 6 senses. So that also can practice impermanence. So you can find this in the mindfulness in the states of mind, the third foundation of mindfulness. So it describes a different kind of cognitive processes. The mind can be restricted. You can practice impermanence with that. The mind can be expanded. You can practice impermanence with that as well. Or the mind can be scattered. Yeah, you also can practice observing impermanence with that. Okay. Yeah. So, anyone? Everyone.
Hello, Patis.
Yeah.
When I meditate, like I think the moment I close my eyes, right? Sometimes I think I have a very bad habit. So once I close my eyes, I just tighten up already because it's as if like I've been conditioned to think that like I have a task to do. It's time to meditate. So like my whole like mindset like tightens up, and then like I can feel the like my tongue pressing against my palate. Then like a bit tense. Then just now I think you said something about let the mind free. And I was so happy to hear that, oh, let the mind go free. And I was thinking, how do I let the mind go free? And then I wanted to be free. But then I realized like even that one thing is also like that causes like, oh, what should I do? What should I do? But I don't know how it went away somehow. I was just following the instructions that I think that want wasn't there anymore. Then I really like the Chinese one. I don't know.
Okay.
It was like, oh yeah, it sounds nice. Yeah. Just to share. I think my meditation has always been the control freak. The person that you described, always wanting to control, always wanting things to be a certain way. Yeah. So I'll try to use both loving kindness and impermanence. I try. It sounds very theoretical, but yes, I will try my best. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for your comment. But yeah, so we talk about the 4 strategies. Yeah. So you're more of probably the Zen kind. Need to ask questions to make the mind quieten down. Huh? Okay, anyone else? Oh, no problem. Oh, okay. Or everyone's mind too silent really.
Hello, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, do you have any advice if, let's say, I were meditating for a prolonged period of time, my leg gets so numb until it feels like it's going to fall or it's going to break? Do you have any advice for that?
Okay, yeah, so it's called unpleasant feeling. Unpleasant feeling, sure have one. It's part of our feelings, and depending on which type of meditation you're doing, if you're doing the samatha kind, then it's advisable not to move too much, and that means you focus on your meditation theme. But if let's say you're doing the more open awareness kind of vipassana kind, then it's all right to move around. No issues.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay. But the whole idea is with or without moving, the whole idea is detachment. It's not to get overly reactive to the greed or hatred towards that feeling. All right. Looks like you entered samadhi. Okay, never mind. Anyone else?
Hi, Bante. I have a question regarding how sometimes in meditation the mind does not seem to have a location. So when you mean it's unbounded or expanded, what does that actually? Is it a feeling or is it like exploring into the mind space?
Yeah, so it's basically our area of attention. So when we talk about expanded mind, that is like when we wish all beings well and happy. So that is expanding the mind. So that is one type of cognitive process. And when we talk about scattered mind, like the last stage, I give instruction, let the mind be free. So that is a scattered mind. So the mind, you don't have to make it expand. It's roaming around freely by itself. So various cognitive processes. So regardless of whichever cognitive process you are engaged in, the whole idea is to practice this detachment.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, anyone else? So after showing you the presentation and the practice, you have no excuse to say no time to practice. Because any time also can practice. Huh? Whatever state of mind, whatever cognitive function, whatever activity you're doing, it's still always 6 sense contact all the time, always 5 aggregates. Okay, no problems. The rest, or turning on the video, I'm not sure whether you're present. We call this unseen beings.